Hello, lovely people of the world. Today we'll be talking about details on our first date and how that went, as well as how we almost called it quits by the second date. So we agreed to meet up after work, although it was a Saturday, I believe. Sunday. It was a Sunday afternoon. I had worked until about 2:30.
And we met at 3:30.
We got to meet up at a market in downtown Calgary. So I had plenty of time to sort of dress out of my work clothes and into street clothes. Thought I had plenty of time and I still managed to show up late. I had walked in through the front doors of this marketplace and I looked to my left, looked to my right, near the doorway of the coffee shop. And I took a peek inside the coffee shop, couldn't find anybody that matched the pictures that he had sent me earlier on. So I wasn't too sure whether we were meeting at the same coffee shop or whether it was another coffee shop, whether he was running late. I sent him a text.
I was actually on the second floor of that mall, keeping my eyes on both entrances of this tiny little mall. And I saw you coming through the one entrance, which was closest to the coffee shop where we're supposed to meet at. And then as soon as I saw you stopped. After you stopped and then you looked at your phone, and then I got a message on my phone saying that
I'm here.
she's here. So I said, I'll be right down. I don't even know whether I should text him.
He said, okay, I'll be there soon.
Okay, so I walked down the stairs and I walked towards her. This was February, so it was cold, so we were wearing winter clothes, and I had this long black trench coat and a scarf around my neck, and I was walking towards her like a normal person would.
But I could swear that I saw him walking towards me like this. In the midst of all the crowded faces, there was a really hot and attractive guy that was walking towards me wearing this black trench coat, and I could swear to you that he was not walking at normal speed. He seemed or appeared to be walking in slow motion.
She claims she saw Neo from The Matrix.
Yes! And he wasn't even wearing shades. Oh well. I couldn't even look him in the eye. I couldn't even face him. I was just so giddy and so excited. I said, that can't be him. My eyes must be deceiving me because he looked too hot. And why was he walking in slow motion? So I turned away from him and looked over my shoulder, take a peek, make sure that he's coming towards me, looked away, and I kept second guessing myself. Is this him? Is this the guy? Because if it's not, then I'm going to be so disappointed. If he were like just walking towards me and then ended up walking past me and out the front doors. So I just couldn't make eye contact with him. And I remember I just couldn't stop smiling from ear to ear. So relieved that he was the guy that I get to go on a date with.
As I was walking towards her, I was only about 20 steps in front of her, and I looked at her. She made eye contact with me. She smiled ear to ear, and then she looked away and down. Then she quickly looked back at me, made eye contact, and then she looked down and away again. And that's when I thought, this girl is so infatuated with me, even at a first sight.
This is gonna be easy, right?
I got this.
I introduced myself, he introduced himself, we shook hands, like, nice to meet you. So do you want to grab a cup of coffee? Yeah, sure, why not? We walked into the coffee shop. It's called Good Earth at the Eau Claire Market. I said it. Well, I don't think you ordered coffee.
I had a London fog latte.
And I had hot chocolate, which is so not my usual cup of tea. I usually order coffee. I don't know what the heck happened that day. I remember like it was just yesterday, although mind you, this was 5-6 years ago.
Almost 6.
Almost 6 years ago. I remembered talking and rambling nonstop out of nervousness, I guess. When I get nervous, I tend to talk more about anything and everything under the sun. And he was just sitting quietly, smiling at me at times. Other times, just has like a straight face, kind of like this.
I had a straight face because I was trying to think of something to say because I got nothing on my mind.
And also, I think he said that he was being entertained or amused by how much I was rambling on that night.
Yeah.
And then I realized, so he's probably not amused because he's not responding or reciprocating. He would respond to questions that I'd post, like, "So what about you?" And he'll go like, "Oh, not much." He would respond to me with one word answers or two worded answers. I didn't know what to do with him. I seriously, honestly thought that he did not care for me or was not as attracted to me as I was towards him, to the point where I had to excuse myself and use the washroom.
No, you came back from the washroom, you sat in front of me, and then I sent you a text and said in my text, there's a couple behind you who look like they're on the first date as well.
Right, right. And I remember feeling so relieved that he was making some effort to, make a connection with me. So, yeah, when he sent me that text, I think the couple behind you are also on the first date. I looked over my shoulder and then I saw this couple. They seemed all giddy, they're smiling from ear to ear. Their body language is just that they're both leaned forward against the table, trying to listen intently to one another as the other person spoke. So yeah, I turned back at him and I giggled and I said, "Yeah, I think you're right."
She would giggle and laugh at everything I said, even though I didn't think I said anything funny. I was just talking about my ski trip that I went on the week before and how I was going down so fast and I was so scared and I just fell on my butt because I didn't want to go over the fence and fall off the edge of the cliff. And she was just laughing at the story.
I found it really amusing. The truth is, so not only do I ramble on and on nonstop and talk so much when I'm nervous, but I also felt the need to laugh it off. So I was getting all worked up and excited inside and just so giddy. And so then I was just waiting for the right moment for him to say something. And when he did end up sharing a story, I found it as an opportunity for me to let go, to sort of release some of that stress by ways of laughing at everything he said.
I thought every line I spoke was a punchline. So I was nursing my London fog latte for about 3 hours, and she was nursing her hot chocolate for 3 hours.
Got cold.
And then that's when you said,
Asked him whether he was starving as well, and he said, "Yeah, sure, I'm hungry." So I asked him like, "Hey, why don't we go to that nearest restaurant?"
no, you asked me, are you hungry? And I said, there's this old spaghetti factory just like 2 minutes from here. Do you want to go there?
And I said yes. He had another thing going on in his mind. He read it differently.
It's normally when you go on a coffee date, it ends at coffee date. But this girl right here invited me over for a dinner on the same night.
I didn't know that was against the
There's
rules.
no rule.
You're right. People said on your first date you're supposed to just give, like us women are supposed to give the guy just a sip. So kind of like them taking a sip out of a coffee or hot chocolate, right? You just give the guy sips of yourself. Not literally, but you know what I mean. Just a sip of who you are, to keep them going, to keep them interested, to keep the mystery alive. And then he ended up seeing it as though, oh, this is too easy. So she's inviting me out to dinner. Right after dinner, she's going to invite me over to her place. I'm going to get lucky tonight.
I was thinking, I got this.
And of course, I wasn't thinking. So I was hungry. Went to this old spaghetti factory, ordered some, as you can guess, spaghetti. And then the waitress, I think, had asked us whether we were celebrating
No.
something. She didn't, just different. Okay. And
Which day was that?
I don't know. Another day.
You wanna share who that
And
was?
then I remember him starting to open up. Literally, after 2 bites of his spaghetti, he started opening up more about himself. And I remember thinking to myself, oh my goodness, this guy's talking a little too much now. Where's the mute button? But I wasn't hoping that he would shut up. I actually was genuinely interested in what he had to say because, I mean, the guy didn't speak much during our coffee date, and here he is sharing his deepest thoughts and more about us. Naturally, grew more and more attracted to him.
And then at one point you asked me what was your favorite subject in school, to which I replied, nap time.
Right. And then there was a couple behind us.
Mm,
There was this guy
yeah.
who kind of laughed.
Well, he was about to leave. He was getting up, putting his coat on. Then he heard our conversation and he started laughing. He said, did you just say nap time?
And he said, me too. And Justin and I just kept talking. Well, I was mostly listening at this point, and he was mostly talking up until we kind of almost got kicked out because they had to close. It was 9 o'clock. Then we stepped out of the restaurant, obviously, because they had to close. We felt the night was too young. We were just beginning to get to know each other. So I invited him to my car. It was snowing, so he hopped in, turned the heater on. As we continued on our conversation that was going so well, he broke another rule. So I broke one rule, he broke another one. Apparently, on your first date, you're not supposed to be talking about your exes, your family, or anything of that nature. And he started opening up in the car about his family. So I actually found it really attractive and adorable that he felt that he could trust me enough to open up about his family. He also opened up about how your dad had this gas station business.
Oh, yeah.
And like they went through some hard time. So I was surprised that he was talking to me about something that apparently he said he doesn't normally share with people that he has gone on several dates with. So the fact that he shared that with me on our first date, that's a good sign. Yeah. Apparently I'm a good listener too.
So we were talking until 2 in the morning and she had to work on Monday morning.
I had to get up at 5 in the morning that same day.
Right.
So yeah, I remember telling him like, oh, you know what? I would love to continue on this conversation on our date because it was going so well and I didn't feel an ounce of tiredness or exhaustion. I was really enjoying his company and I was really enjoying our date, our first date. But then I knew that I would have to go home because then I only have 3 hours of sleep before I have to wake up and get ready for work again. So sadly, I had to call it a night. He reached in for a kiss, and then I told him that I don't kiss on the first date, and that I can give him a hug. And he's like, okay, I'll take a hug. And then we hugged. But then, sneaky little devil here insisted on attempting to reach for that kiss. Of course, I tried to break away and hugged him on the other. I put my cheek on his other cheek. So kind of like this. So we were hugging, and then he's trying to pull me in for a kiss, and I turned the other way, and he's pulling me in for a kiss, and I turned the other way. Something like that. Until he finally succeeded in reeling me in for a kiss. And I'm happy he did. That was the first kiss I've had in Calgary. It was pretty special. I don't regret that he kissed me.
So all in all, good day's work.
That was culture shock for me. I had migrated to the Philippines prior to moving to Canada. And in the Philippines, the guys would not dare go against your wishes. If the girl tells the guy, I don't kiss on the first date, the guy will go like, oh, I'm really sorry. I'm not going to do anything to make you feel uncomfortable. I'm going to respect your decision. But
no, I think some people, or most people here do that too.
Most people here.
Yeah, but not
not this guy. So anywho, I'm glad he did. This was something I actually have been craving. I told him, okay, well, have a good night. It was really awesome. Tonight really went well, and I hope that we continue on this. And he's like, okay, well, I have your number. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, oh, let me know when you get home. He was really sweet. Really, really sweet. So then I drove home. He drove home. I texted him that I went home, got home safely. At the time, I was living with my mom and my sister and my brother. He was living with his parents at the time as well. So we went on our second date a week later. So then the second date, he had invited me to the Olympic Oval
First ice skating.
for ice skating.
Indoor ice skating.
Indoor ice skating. I haven't ice skated since I was 8 or 10. So it's quite a ways back. And this was in Dubai. Yeah, no, it's pretty warm there. I was pretty excited and nervous about ice skating because I didn't want to look bad in front of this hot guy, you know? But yeah, he was very reassuring. He comforted me and told me that he would not let me fall and he would hold on to my hand. I guess that's one of his tactics.
So we skated while holding hands because she was so scared to fall. So I said, I won't let go. I'll never let go.
I'll never let go, Jack. She let him go. Anywho, so we went ice skating and I believe I fell twice.
Twice, but I was holding on to you
Yeah.
as you were falling, so it wasn't a hard fall.
Yeah, he was my hero. At least I didn't have to use those walker thingies and look really old trying.
But the next time we went skating, she did the same.
That's for another video. Anywho, this is the second date. And I had fun. I genuinely had fun because, I mean, I was really attracted to this guy. And it didn't matter what we did, whether we were just out for coffee or ice skating or just literally laying on the grass all day long. I enjoyed his company in the first date and I continued to enjoy his company on the second date.
On our way to the skating rink, she was about half an hour late.
Oh my goodness.
Because she couldn't find the place. She was apparently asking for directions while driving.
I was asking random people on the street. He simply said, oh, there's this Olympic Oval in the University of Calgary. You got this, right? Or you could just Google it, or I can help you. And I'm like, no, I got this. Apparently, University of Calgary had multiple buildings. And I had no clue where to find this so-called Olympic Oval because it's indoors. I mean, which building could it possibly be in?
The biggest one.
And thankfully, he was there, still there. How late was that?
Half an hour later.
Only half an hour. That was pretty good.
So we went to Wendy's for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what I had, burger, I assume.
We had a burger,
Probably.
obviously.
We were out talking late again. We were back in our car.
For some weird reason, felt the need to share some vital information, very personal information with him on the second date. So I told him, you know what, I hope it wasn't awkward between us, that on our first date, when I had told you I don't kiss on the first date, it's not that I wasn't attracted to you, it's just that I'm really cautious because I told him that there's something about me you need to know. And then I told him that I'm a virgin. And things changed all of a sudden. His facial expression changed. His mood changed. He just went like, come again? And then I told him again, I'm a virgin. And I was like, all giddy about it and laughing and all that. And then he went like, okay, well, so it's getting late now. I hope you find your way home safely. So yeah, this was a fun night. Thank you so much for everything. I really have to go. I can't remember. I just remember going like, whoa, I thought we were having so much fun and I thought we were gonna go somewhere else, but I must have scared him away with that personal information that I had shared. So I felt so bummed out and I was like, are you sure? Is everything okay? He's like, yep, everything's fine. It's just, he even opened the door for me to step out from the inside. He kind of reached over and like, okay, so have a good night. Oh, I was so bummed out, honey. You have no idea. So I stepped out and I'm like, well, thanks for everything. And he's like, yep. And then I shut the door and he started his car and I don't remember who left first. You, perhaps. He pulled out of the parking lot and just drove away. like, like he's never looking back. And so I pulled out of the parking lot and I was just so confused. I didn't understand what I might have said that could have possibly turned him off or, scared him away. And I kept playing it over and over in my mind, so I knew I had to kind of open up to somebody. And so I drove over to my sister's apartment to sort of vent and hopefully brainstorm. Hopefully she could shed some more light as to what I had done wrong, you know? So I went to my sister's place and I remember opening up to her about how wonderfully our night went and how I was so excited to see him and how giddy he made me feel because he's super duper cute. And then I told her about how weirdly our night ended because I had disclosed that I was a virgin. And then she couldn't figure it out, and she said, "Could it be that you scared him away because they have?" She's like, "Some of the guys here in Calgary might think that if they were to sleep with a virgin, that the virgin would end up being super clingy and would not get off their back and would just like be all obsessed with the guy." And I thought about it, and I was like, "You think that that's what's happened between Justin and I?" And as we were sort of brainstorming, my sister and I, he had sent me a text, right?
What did I say?
He sent, oh my goodness, you don't remember. He sent me a text while I was in my sister's apartment, and he went like, I wish that you could be more honest with me and let me know if if you're not into me instead of dropping a bomb like that. So I went like, what? What? He's upset? He's upset? I was like, what? So then I phoned him. I'm like, yo, Justin, I don't understand. What's wrong? What went wrong? And then that's when he said, you know what? I've been through a lot of dates. Okay? I know how this goes. You drop a bomb like that in hopes that you would scare me away because you don't feel like you want to see me ever again. So then you say, like, girls come up with things like, oh, there's something about me you need to know. I have syphilis. Or there's something about me you need to know. I'm a virgin, just to scare guys like me away. Like, I get it. You don't have to drop hints like that. I just wish that you were mature enough and honest enough to just be upfront with me. Just tell me, it's been nice. I feel like you and I don't have any chemistry or I'm not attracted to you. So thank you for everything, but please don't call me ever again. Why can't you do that? So then I was in so much shock, and at the same time I was laughing because I was like, oh my goodness, so that's what you thought was going on. You thought I was breaking up with you. Oh my god. I was so relieved. Oh, so relieved. I thought I had scared him away because he was afraid that a virgin like me would, kind of be all clingy and obsessed with him. And he wanted his independence and his freedom, young guy like him.
No, because on her profile, she says her religion is Muslim.
Right.
And I know that Muslims, they stay virgin until get married, or the ones who are devoted at least. And when she says she's virgin, that means she's saving herself to marry a Muslim man. And obviously this guy is not a Muslim man, so that means there's no way she's ever gonna get with this guy.
That, and you also thought I was coming up with this excuse because I wasn't all covered up.
Right.
You're like, she couldn't possibly be that devoted of a Muslim woman and, saving herself for marriage. Because when I first saw her, like you said, when you first saw me, I wasn't all covered up or anything. I guess he didn't believe that I could possibly be a virgin at that age. How old was I?
25.
25. I knew that I was, taking a risk and he might actually up and leave me because, he's a guy. He has needs.
You do?
Can't fulfill those needs when I'm a virgin. Do you know what I mean? So I started laughing and I said, do you know that I drove over to my sister's house? Like, oh my goodness, I was so worried I scared you away. I really am a virgin. Please give me another chance. Let's talk this over so I can explain to you.
I think we separated at around 10 or 10:30, and then we were talking on our phone again past midnight, I think.
So that's basically the bulk of this video, is to share with you guys details of our first date.
And second.
And how we almost called it quits by the second date.
Because that was miscommunication.
Right, because you assumed.
I assumed.
And I kind of broke that rule and shared too deep of a secret by the second date. Yo, seriously, I did not know there were such a thing as rules to dating. I'm kind of glad that I didn't, because then we wouldn't have experienced, ups and downs in our relationship early on. Okay, well, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. On our next video, what will we be doing? We did have our first fight early on in our relationship, where we almost called it quits again.
That was like a sixth
The
date.
sixth date. Wow, what a roller coaster of a ride it was to be in a relationship with each other. So stay tuned for that next video, and I hope you enjoyed this one. Thanks so much for listening and for watching.
I barely spoke. Bye.
It's my turn to speak. He had a solo video, remember? Yeah. So bye, lovely people of the world.
Bye.